right, good morning. My name is Scott Young, and with me I have Sean Sturby, our Technical Services Manager. We're from Optrics Engineering, and this is your weekly Optrics Insider. So good morning, Sean.
Good morning.
Our three topics today are, first one being Exchange Server Hafnium Patch. The second one is Qualys, which is a security vendor, has been hit by ransomware. And finally, Carbon Spider and Sprite Spider are hitting VMware. I'm assuming that is some sort of a malware or issue, vulnerability with VMware. All right, let's talk about the Microsoft Exchange Server Hafnium Patch.
Yeah, so Microsoft has released a bunch of security patches or updates for the Exchange server. So if anybody is familiar with corporate email, Exchange Server has been a mainstay of it for the longest time. People are migrating to Office 365 or Microsoft 365 as it's called now, and that's the same thing. It's an Exchange Server, but in the cloud, on Microsoft's cloud. So this Hafnium attack specifically leverages patches that are required on Exchange Server on-premise.
Okay.
And they are saying that it is likely that it is some Chinese hacking group that is taking advantage of this flaw in the Exchange Server web interface to install what are called web shells, basically the web interface. So instead of reading an email, it gives you control over the server that is hosting that web interface. So even the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, the CISA in the US, in March, on the 5th, they did a general advisory saying, please update your on-prem Exchange environment. And then on March 6th, the day later, they said, we are aware of domestic and international exploitation of these vulnerabilities. Here are some resources that you can use to confirm and determine if your systems are compromised. Brian Krebs has reported that it's at least 30,000 servers or organizations that have been hit, and likely 250,000 organizations in total that are vulnerable. And they're saying that it's attacking people. Thousands of new servers are being added every hour.
Every hour.
Every hour.
So this is prolific then.
Mm-hmm. They realize that the patch is out, so the hacking groups are moving into high gear to compromise as many systems as possible, because once they get in and put in their backdoor software, even if you patch the hole that allowed them to get in, they're still inside.
Great.
Mm-hmm. So patch, apply mitigation. Microsoft has got a bunch of things that you can do. And I even read that there is a web application firewall company that's released patches, or not patches, but rules that will block the exploit from happening as long as your Exchange server is behind their mitigation. But this is going to take, they're talking probably 18 months to clean up, because with this many organizations exploited, there's not enough cybersecurity experts out there that can mitigate this in a timely fashion. People are going to be queuing up. They're reaching out and calling in and saying, help, help, help. How do we solve this? And there's not enough people to go around.
Well, this is also a good reminder that as you're patching is to pay attention to what year or version of Exchange you have. And if you are on an older version, all the way back to what, 2003, that it'd be a good time to even refresh and upgrade to the latest version, assuming that you're not compromised. But that sounds like it's a pretty nasty one out there.
Yeah, it's up there with the SolarWinds attack, definitely.
Wow. Okay, well, we'll include links to all those details, of course, in the show notes. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about Qualys, and they've been hit by ransomware.
Yeah, so Qualys is a vulnerability detection security firm, and I personally have used their SSL server test web page many times. It's a resource that they make freely available, which says, given a web page's name, let's go and make sure that the encryption behind it is working properly. They do a wonderful test, and they give you a report card at the end with a B, C, D, E, F mark. So files appearing to originate from Qualys, the corporate entity, were dumped online by the Clop extortionists. And they haven't said anything about it, but it looks like this would be an embarrassing incident for them, because they are known to, Clop is known to reach out and reveal all sorts of proprietary information, basically saying, hey, if you don't pay us, we're going to release all your dirty laundry all over the internet.
So, and how is Qualys reacting to this? Or I would imagine they're the ones who said, yes, we did get hit by ransomware.
Yeah, they did issue a statement the 4th of March that a zero-day exploit in a third-party solution that they were using for file transferring was impacted, and they have reached out and are hiring another security expert, in this case, FireEye Mandiant, which revealed the exploit, the zero-day, in this particular Acelion appliance, to investigate and see the impact of this exploit.
Interesting. Well, it's too bad that they got hit by that.
And the interesting thing is, in their note, they say that the hot fix for this appliance was released on December 21st, and the IT team at Qualys actually applied the hot fix one day later, December 22nd. So a very small window of opportunity in which they were attacked.
Well, I guess it sounds like they were on it. Probably couldn't have done anything differently.
No, it was likely that they were compromised prior to the release of the vulnerability fix on the 21st.
Right. Okay. Let's talk about our final topic. Let's talk about Carbon Spider and Sprite Spider hitting VMware.
Yeah, so this is ransomware. So VMware is known for what's called its hypervisor, or its virtualization platform. So the idea there is that we've got these very powerful servers, and we've got all of these different things that we want to do on these servers. We want them to be Active Directory controllers. We want them to be DNS servers. We want them to be web servers. We want them to manage patches and all sorts of other things. And sometimes these different pieces of software will conflict with each other. They all want to run a web interface on the server itself on port 80. Well, you can only typically have one, and then they install all sorts of different libraries, etc. So what VMware's ESXi hypervisor does is allow you to take that one server and slice it into a lot of different virtual servers. So you can have a slice of the server dedicated for Active Directory, and a slice of the server dedicated for the DNS service, and a slice for the patching server. So that's great. It means that the utilization on the servers goes up. You don't have to buy a lot more hardware. You do have to buy the hypervisor and manage it. So knowing this, that people are using this hypervisor virtualization platform, this ransomware strain, what they do is, when they infect a computer, what they're doing is they're trying to find the credentials to manage the hypervisor. They will try and find it in memory or in browsers, And then they use those credentials to manage those virtual servers to encrypt them. First, they extract them or exploit them, exfiltrate the data on them, and then they encrypt them. And they are using a 4096-bit RSA key, which is very hard to crack, or impossible, some people would say, so that they are basically shutting down the organization by encrypting all of these servers. They can't run, you can't get access to the data on them. And the only way to get access is to pay them the money to get that decryption key. So backup, 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 and make sure that you have, again, in this case, they're using some exploits. So make sure that your ESXi server and the management portal are fully patched and up to date.
You almost are, with all these exploits, you almost are afraid to run anything. That's too bad. And VMware is a very popular tool out there. So like the Exchange Server Hafnium Patch, this is going to be another problem too that IT people are going to have to resolve. So I would imagine they're busy. They're always busy, but super busy trying to fight people off. All right. Anything else you wanted to include, Sean?
That's it for today. It's this is a lot of things to think about, and IT teams are going to be very, very busy over the next little while.
Yeah. Just to recap the 3 topics that we talked about, the Microsoft Exchange Server Hafnium Patch. So if you're running Exchange Server, please make sure you have patched or you are patching, and there'll be resources available to you that can tell you if you've been compromised. Qualys, a well-known security company, has been hit with ransomware, and then VMware has some ransomware attacking it as well, including the Carbon Spider and the Sprite Spider. I wonder who comes up with these names, by the way.
The security researchers based on something that they find in the malware.
Gotcha. Okay, good to know. Thank you, Sean, for your time as always. And if you enjoyed today's Optrics Insider, please share, like, and subscribe. And we will see you next time. Have a great week. Bye for now.